So here is Nodin, and he is my Mustang Classic Makeover Mustang, and we are on day 21 of training. So he had his first saddling the other day, and now I'm progressing. I have my good old crate saddle that I'm gonna work on him. So just going through the process of putting the saddle on. You can see he got a little nervous because some of the leather straps kind of touching around. So I'm going to give him a second here. Kind of wiggle it around and kind of rinse and repeat. And I'm going to do that kind of a couple of times. And then he did start to relax. And then going through girthing him up. And I like to make this process pretty slow, giving him cookies in between. I like to use alfalfa cubes. And then asking him to step off at the walk. And I like to make sure when my horses are starting off that they do start off at the walk. Sometimes they can get where they anticipate and kind of pop into the trot, but he's pretty good at staying in the walk. Once I feel like we are in a good spot here, then I will ask him to trot soon. But he's handling this. He's already progressing pretty well. From that first saddling, he seems much more relaxed. And so now going to the right. And also I like to use my voice cues. So asking him to walk, using my voice, and I say walk. And then to trot, I use 2 clucks. And then to canter, I cue with a smooch or the kiss sound. So I can make it pretty distinct. And so again, the voice cues can help as well. And he did a very nice canter transition. And again, he's seeming very relaxed today, which is really good because we had that one little instance where he bucked. So I really want to make sure that he understands and that he is relaxed, because I feel like he is the type where you might think, oh, you can go ahead and get on, but I don't think he's ready for that yet. So we need to go through a little bit more education for him. So here he kind of got a little stuck. Going to the left. And going to the left is where he bucked last time. But this is looking pretty good. Oh, I'm yelling at my Chihuahua. My little 5-pound Chihuahua sometimes gets confused and thinks she should come and help. So I did not want her to come into the pen. She looks like a little squirrel. So then back to asking him to trot. And now I'm going to ask for the canter. Use my left hand as a direction and then increase with the tail of the rope. Making sure he doesn't kind of want to get stuck in the corner, so I add a little bit more pressure. But that was very good. I was really happy with that. So oftentimes I try to keep it pretty simple, and when they're really good kind of the next day after they've had kind of some of insecurities, then I move on to another. So building on getting him comfortable with things kind of touching him and working on with the driving rope. So I like to first start with the rope, my outside rope just on the horn, so not on the halter yet. And not through the stirrups, just getting him comfortable with it touching the saddle, and then coming around just above his hocks. And now he's had this work also done without the saddle, so it's easy for him to kind of bridge that gap. And now going to the right. Kind of the same thing. I like often a tickle spot on them can be kind of right on the top of that SI and the tail head, getting them comfortable with things touching them there. is important, I think. And then again, getting it to come down just above his hocks. And really getting the movement of those ropes. And then he did really good listening to my voice cue. And he'll get a nice rub. So now I've added the driving lines through the stirrups. So I think this is another really good training tool to use to get them used to seeing those stirrups kind of flop a little bit. So getting that visual in their eye on both sides. And just working on a bit here of our halting. And then changing direction. In the beginning, you'll see that I will make a concerted effort to change in the direction of his eye. So I'm not just standing directly behind him. I have to build up to that. So going to the right, I'm going to be more in that right eye. And then working on getting to walk. And then that was really good. That was off of my voice, where I asked him to whoa. And now I'm going to put a little bit of feel, and you'll see I'll switch into that left eye. And then I can gradually build it up to where I'm directly behind him, and he'll go off of it based on the feel of the halter. All of this is just really good prep work to make it easier for them to put the pieces together for when I do ride. And that was another very good. And so I'm going to give him a rub there. And I was really happy with that session. That was really good. And then we went off for a little bit of a play over the bridge that we have, and he was super. And now I have him back in the cross size, untacked, and I wanted to introduce him to clippers. He has quite a heavy coat, and so when I introduce them to clippers, oftentimes it can be with the cord that scares him. So he's like, there's this big scary thing coming to me. So it's a slow introduction, and then you increase with the sound. But you'll see I start with where their brand is. They're typically, once they understand, then they're okay. But my idea is to give him a little bit of a vent, because even though it is November, he has a very woolly coat, and I don't want him to overheat. So I'm going to work on getting him prepped so I can body clip him. So this is an important step, because again, being in Florida, the temperatures can vary a lot, but it's more important if they don't overheat, especially with these guys when they're used to really cold temperatures. So just doing a little bit of pressure and release and going slow, letting him see it in that left eye. Then just building it with turning the sound on and off, and then I will eventually go with the sound on and touch it with the back of my hand so he gets used to a little bit of the vibration in the sound touching his body, but then he can start bridging the gap a little bit.
Good boy. Good. It's just like a brush. Good. Ooh, you have a good freeze brand.
And he was really good. I was able to get the freeze brand done and then just finishing up on giving him a little bit of a vent here. So setting him up for the body clip later.
So good. That looks so good.